Hey, my name's Darrell. This is episode 70 of Lost Signals. I'm joined today by Mr. Joel Jeffrey, comedian based
Hello
out
there.
of based out of Saskatoon. You have a long list of credits that I was picking off of your webpage today, and some of them surprised me, actually. The biggest one that confusion isn't the right word.
A comedian from Saskatchewan has credits? What?
That's part of it, actually. The other part of it is like the Taco Bell sponsorship or collaboration. I looked into it. I couldn't find anything really, but can you explain how you got involved with like the biggest stoner taco company in the world?
I have a history of doing a lot of diarrhea jokes, so
That fits. That tracks 100%. Yeah.
no, they were opening up their stores in Saskatoon,
Right.
and I think they just looked for people of influence to talk about it, and so I'm not as active on social media now as I have been historically, but I was quite active 5 or 6 years ago, and lived on it and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how they found me. They found me through being influential in Saskatoon, I suppose. That's just my sphere of influence. It's quite vast. And so asked for me to do 10 posts for them,
Okay.
and talk about them, and then a bunch of free food and all the rest of it. By the way, they hated all of my suggestions. There were other influencers, some people on the radio and other people around town who also, I think they picked like maybe half a dozen of us.
Yeah.
And so, you see other people posting and whatnot. It took me, probably 6 to 8 months to get my 10 posts approved to be posted for Taco Bell. Whereas a lot of the other people, there are a few people from like CTV or other things like that
Yeah.
who had theirs done in 2 weeks. So they didn't like it. Would go back and forth, and it was through a marketing PR firm that handles Taco Bell's advertising.
Yep.
Their Canadian advertising. So I had to send them everything, and then they would review it with Taco Bell, and so I would send it off, and I would hear nothing for like 2 weeks, and then it would come back with just a list of changes and things that they didn't like, and I'm like, did you not see? I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm gonna try and have fun with this, but yeah. So it didn't. I mean, it's a nice credit to have, and they paid me, and I appeased what they were looking for.
Yeah.
I posted nice things. Of course, like the first one that I posted did have, or the one that I sent out to him did have diarrhea involved, and they didn't. They're like, no, we don't like that.
But it's like synonymous with Taco Bell.
Of course.
Like as soon
Of
as
course.
when you make that decision to go to Taco Bell, like make no plans for the evening. Like
Yeah.
100%. Like it's not.
Well, I mean, you have a plan. You know where it's gonna lead.
You're gonna stay 15 feet from your toilet.
It's a great place to take your date. It's
Well, it's proof. Like, well, I guess it's a good way to gauge on what kind of person your date is gonna be.
right.
Take her to Taco Bell, see what she orders, go from there.
Find out a lot about the person you're on a date with.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, so like you talked about being like from Saskatoon, and
Yeah.
what's the comedy scene like in Saskatoon right now? Like, is there?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very active. There are a lot of comedians. Some are doing really well. It's kind of exploded a bit. There's one lady named Dakota who's doing movies and TV shows and stuff. So she's really successful. Another friend of mine named Miles Morrison. I think he just finished Halifax Comedy Festival. So he's done a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of exploding. I go to some of the open mics, and
Yeah.
there are comedians who I've never met and never seen. And I came up in the scene here about 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And it was the same 10 or 12 people
Like
all the time.
like Des Reed and like
Yeah.
yeah, like
all the Des Reed shows. Yeah.
yeah.
So it was a much more limited group of comedians back then, and I think it took thicker skin and the ability to put up with a lot of insanity.
Imagine, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty wild times, and that's what I came up in. But now it just seems like it's a really good, holistic, encouraging, community of joke tellers who are just looking to have a good time. So
awesome.
It feels a lot better. It feels like a pretty good scene.
So, like, is it still just Yuck Yucks? Is that just the only club in town, or is there, like, because that's the only one I personally know of. That's the only one I've been to. But, like, is there other ones in the city yet?
Yeah.
Or still?
Yeah, there's a new one that the lady I talked about, Dakota, she and her husband, and I think his brother started up, called Art Bar on 20th.
Okay.
And they're doing a lot of shows, much more than Yuck Yucks is doing. So Yuck Yucks has their regular, I think they're doing, 2 Fridays a month, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's about it. They've really pared it down, especially since COVID. It used to be that you'd have a Friday and a Saturday at the Saskatoon club here, and now maybe it's just harder getting people out to shows, or I'm not too sure.
That's the Saskatoon
pared
thing,
it down.
though. Like Saskatoon misses a lot of maybe bigger names coming through, like, or even coming to clubs because of the size of the city. Would that be it? Maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just.
But so Art Bar is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little venue. It's really, really, it's really intimate and fun. I've done it a couple of times and had a good time there.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of Canadian comedians and some American ones too coming through. Of course, they got to pay their 25% extra to perform there.
It's such a ridiculous thing right now. I just can't get over it.
Isn't it fun? Isn't just the whole world fun? I just find everything is just great.
Yeah. You pick up this damn thing right here, and you open it, and it's just all of the bad news is just screaming at your face for a little bit. It's
I like to do that first thing in the morning. I find, to start my day off.
Just
really
right on the wrong foot.
Just a huge heap of discouragement right away, so I can get my day going. Yeah. And before bed too. So I bookend my day with terrible things.
Yes.
I find it's a good way to live.
That's great. But okay, on the other side of it, like I see that you have a best-selling book. You're a best-selling author.
Yes.
I looked at the release date. I'm guessing COVID book, like you wrote it during COVID, or had you had the idea for the joke book beforehand? The book we're talking about is the Great Saskatchewan Joke Book, available on Amazon and wherever you buy books.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's another funny story that I had never had a plan to write a book. That one just kind of happened upon me, fell into my lap.
Yeah.
And again, through social media, which there's a publishing company out in Halifax called McIntyre Purcell. And I thought it was actually a spam email or phishing or whatever. I thought it was fake. And so I get this email from them asking me to be a part of a book. And so I looked into it. They're legit. And they had a plan. So I didn't get to choose the title for my book, nor the cover. I had a little bit of influence in the cover, but they already had, like, here, we have this thing that we're looking to put out. Yeah. Would you be willing to do it? And so I wasn't sure. I'm quite an avid writer. I write all the time. Yeah. The old creative juices never stop flowing. Doesn't matter what time of day it is. Something's popping out of the ether for me. And so I'm mulled over whether or not I thought I could do it. And my wife actually sent me, what do they call them? I'm stupid.
Join the club.
the videos where they teach you something. There's some name
like
for it.
Tutorials or
but there's some cool
webinars or
webinar. That's it. See, you're better off than me, even with your shift work.
Some days, man.
I'm just stupid with no excuse, man. So yeah. So they asked me. She sent me a webinar from some author that she really loves. Yeah. And this guy's talking about how to get published. And so the vast majority of this video, is about an hour long, was talking about how to get a publishing contract.
Okay.
And then the last 10% was like, well, once you've done that, that's the hard part. The easy part is to write the book. Then just write your book and schedule in your writing time and write it and stop messing around. Yeah. And so after realizing that's the hardest part, and I literally have the publishing contract sitting there in my inbox. Yeah. All I have to do is sign it and become a published author. So then I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. And I wrote it, and it did really well. And it was a fun little project. I think it would have done better had the release of it came out with COVID. So I didn't get to do, I'd planned to do a book tour. Right. And kind of do a whole themed comedy book tour and the rest of it that never manifested because we were all busy trying not to die.
Stupid COVID. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that messed that up for me. But I still did all right. Made some good sales and stuff, and it's a nice thing to have as a credit. So yeah.
That's awesome. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to pick it up now. Just
oh, you jerk. Have me on the show.
Hey man. You know, sometimes you gotta just roll with the punches, right? You know how it is.
No worries. I'm just giving you a hard time.
It's all good. It's all good. So I was reading through your credits again, and I saw one like the Jay and Dan podcast. Rest in peace, because it was a great podcast. I was an avid listener. I remember hearing about you on there, but like, do you remember what it was like being on that show? Like, I don't remember the specific episode you were on, or episodes.
So the show I was on wasn't recorded. They called it their live podcast tour.
Oh,
okay. And so I got to open for them and hang out with them backstage.
That's awesome.
It was they did it at the Broadway. It was nuts, man.
Yeah.
That audience is, I wasn't sure what to expect. They're like, say whatever you want. Nobody cares. That's our audience. You can do literally anything you want, and right out of the gate. So I got to do, I think, 20 or 25 minutes to open up for them, and then they're on stage doing their whatever it is that they do.
Their shtick.
Their shtick, being just jackasses and having a good time. And it was pretty great. They're pretty great guys. Really fun.
That's I loved their show, and like when they did Dan dirty there and got rid of him, man. That was a sad day in Canadian history.
Yeah,
that's
he he says to me, so when I got there, I got to the Broadway. They asked me to be there about hour and a half before the show.
Yeah,
and come in through the back door, and they're like, "Here's your green room," and it's literally like they put me alone in like this little broom closet with a bathroom. The bar fridge in there is empty. There's nothing in there. I'm like, what am I going to just sit here for the next 90 minutes? Don't I even get to meet these guys?
Yeah.
Like, what is... So I asked the guy who's the stage manager. He's like, I don't know. They're in their own green room. I don't want to disturb them. So I left and I walked out, and sure enough, coming in the door is Dan. He's right there. And I was like, hey. And he looks at me. He's like, hey, like, should I know you?
Yeah.
And from there, I was like, I'm your comedian to open for you guys tonight. And then they invited me into their green room, and it was as insane as you could imagine it would be. Full of people, full of things.
Thanks. I can just imagine the plethora of things available.
They were getting into things. Yeah.
That's sounds like a showbiz thing. I mean, I don't personally know, but because I'm not in show business, I'm kind of in show business.
I prefer the green room with nothing in it, personally.
You just have your own thoughts screaming at you in that room all alone. Yeah.
Well, at the level I'm at, that's usually you get a lot of that. You do Cudworth, and you get the town hall with the broom closet backstage, where they also keep the old piano and the props for the elementary school play.
You're not kidding, because I know I've been in the storage room here, and there is an old piano in there that probably hasn't been touched since 1976.
They're all the same. Yeah.
It's every small town.
It is nice, though, when you perform in a small town and they actually put that stuff away. A lot of times you'll be on the stage with the old piano, and there'll be a ladder up there, and just other stuff where they're like, this is all we're doing for you.
So in that respect, like, what would be your favorite small town to play in? I'm assuming you've been all over Saskatchewan.
I've been to a lot, yeah. You lose track after a while.
Yeah.
I just recently did one in Gronlid. Heard of Gronlid?
Yeah, I went skiing there as a kid. Yep.
Do they have a ski hill in Gronlid?
It's the Wapiti ski hill. Yeah, they even have a chairlift.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a chairlift there, I think.
It was really fun. They were really, really fun group of people. Most small towns are fun, though.
Well, that's
I found, when I was getting started in comedy, everybody talked about how hard the small towns were to do. And I did tour with Des quite a bit.
Yeah.
He brought me out and stuff, and we do just the worst small town bars, and nobody likes you. You come into do a show, people are there. I don't even think they know that a show is going to happen. So you go into these small town bars, and I'd open for Des, and just eat it, and it would be horrible. And he would do really well, and then I'd drive home with him. he's been taking things as well.
Yeah.
And just feeling like garbage. But now the small towns are my favorite place. I love them because I just feel like people. There's no pretension. They don't care. They just want to have fun. There are no words that are going to trigger them where people are going to be like, I didn't listen to the subject matter of your joke. I just heard that word and now I'm mad. Like that doesn't happen. It's not a thing. It used to be that the city was the best place to perform. You'd perform at the comedy club and it was so fun. And it's still pretty fun. It's still pretty good. And we're coming around to a time that's more fun where people are just kind of tired of being mad about things, I think. But man, I love the small towns. I have a blast.
Yeah.
It's rare that I leave a small town where I'm not like, man, this might be my funnest show ever. And you say that with most of them.
Yeah. And I was watching your bit about the food poisoning and the 17 beers.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming that probably after a show out in a small town and 17 beers after the show. Yeah, I get it.
Of course. Yeah.
And then I was watching your bit too about the Ukrainian food and that's what Cudworth is. It's half German people and half Ukrainian people. So you get drunk.
All alcoholics.
You get drunk and you eat.
Yeah.
And then you eat some more and then you get drunk some more. It's just it's small town Saskatchewan, man. So,
it's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
So in that respect, like what would be like your biggest venue that you've played at?
I mean, I've done some theaters. I got to headline the theater in Fort Saskatchewan, just north of Edmonton there, which is, I don't know, probably 1,500 or something like that. I don't know. I'm pulling that number out of my butt. I might be way off. But it was mostly full.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. Got to do that. I've done like the theater down in Estevan, which is the Orpheum. I did the Lido in Fort St. John. So some of these theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, just some of the clubs. Perform in Vancouver is always fun. Perform in Calgary, it's a good time.
Fort St. John, that's a hell of a hike to go for a show. I'm guessing you must have been on a swing though, like on a whole tour.
It was actually a show of fun. I do a lot of fundraisers. I do a lot of shows that have. It's not just a show. They're having you out to help them raise money or whatever it is. So it was a fundraiser for the Salvation Army.
Oh, perfect.
In Fort St. John. So they actually, I don't know, man. It was a fun time. They flew me out. Put me up in a hotel for like 2 days. They wanted to have us out there a day early so that in case the flight was delayed, it wouldn't be a big deal. So I got to go out there and just eat and drink and hang out and have a good time and leave the wife and kids at home and no one asking me to take garbage out or
walk the dog or
any of that stuff. So I just, those are always, that one was really fun.
Fort St. John's
times.
A wild town too. I've been up there a couple times. Like I worked up there. Like the old story. Every Saskatchewan kid goes and works on the rigs. So that's
right.
But I spent a little time in Fort St. John. It was lots of food poisoning the early mornings, if you can imagine.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So what made you get into this besides just being, say, naturally funny? Like, is there like it's always been like a performing bug that you've caught me like at an early age, or was it just something else you started to do later in life?
I started around 29 is when I started doing. I'm 45 now, so I'm getting to be old balls over here. Hey,
you're just a year older than me, so it's
okay. Yeah, we're right in the same
Yeah.
territory. Just feeling good all the time.
100%. Yeah,
just so much body health, right? So 29. I lived in Kelowna. And what got me started in showbiz though was I used to be in radio, and so I worked in radio here. I've worked for I think almost every radio station in Saskatoon, and I moved to Kelowna and I was out there doing a midday show, and one of the guys who worked at this station was a comedian, and I just ruminated on how I'd always want to do it, and he had a gig, and he's like, "Come out, you can do 5 minutes to open for me." And we'll see what happens. So I did it, and I loved it. I was like, man, I am born for this. He recorded the whole thing too, and sent me away with a DVD.
Yeah,
back when that was a thing that people would give you.
Classic.
Yeah, that's the era where I got started. At least it wasn't VHS, right? So I'm not that old. So he gives me the DVD, and that was it. After that, I just I wanted to keep getting on stage. I still have the DVD, and it is horrible. It's very bad, Darrell. It's not.
Boy,
every new comic thinks they're just the best, right? And anyone who's been doing it for a while, or anyone who knows what stand-up comedy is supposed to be is like, this person's not very good.
Yeah.
They must be new. But, you get a few laughs, you think you're awesome. And that was what happened. But it's very intoxicating, right? It's a very, the dopamine is a wonder drug.
100%.
You have a good set. And even still, I've been doing this, like the better part of 14 or 15 years. And a great set, having just a really good night, that dopamine from that will last days.
100%. I like I said, I play in a couple bands, and it's the same thing but a little different, like with the being on stage and putting it, like, I get like a good show means you're good for the week, almost, for me anyways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A bad show also means that you're
food poisoning.
Quit. Yeah,
food poisoning.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
100%. Yeah. Some days.
Yeah.
Oh man. I should write down. I had, again, night shift brain and being older, like I had stuff that I was going to ask you that I had written down, but God damn it. See, this is why I record instead of doing this live, because I can just edit this out.
Dude, I know all about it, man. I spent years on the air and edited all kinds of garbage out. But,
see, and actually, so my co-host.
The outtakes are fun, though. They can be really fun.
100%. Yeah. So my co-host is actually a radio host from Prince George.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
On.
So he started
Is he in Prince George currently?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So he started in Vancouver, though. I think.
Oh, that's a nice start.
On the Fox or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great station.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty badass.
But he's been doing it for like 20 some years. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. God,
So you mentioned in the email that you wanted to talk a little bit about, what it's like trying to come up in Saskatchewan as a comedian.
Yeah. So I'll ask.
Sure.
I'll ask you that so I can edit it in. Yeah.
Okay.
See,
you
this
bet.
is the magic of the internet. So what's it like to break into a business like yours? Coming from a small center, because let's be honest, Saskatoon it's not Calgary, it's not Edmonton, where millions, over 1 million people live. So what's it like trying to break out of the, call it the prairie dome of silence, if that makes sense?
I don't know, man. It's not too bad, actually. I think that it's easier, in my opinion, and granted, I've never come up through the comedy scene in Toronto or Vancouver or anything like that, but I have gone out to some of the bigger cities to do open mics and try and network and meet some of the other comedians. And every open mic, it just seems like there is a wait list of 50 comics trying to get on the show, and then they do the lottery, and maybe 10 or 12 of them get on the show, and that's it. And so here, there aren't that many comedians. So if you're trying to get open mic stage time, there is plenty of opportunity. If you're hungry for it and you want to go out and check out the scene, you can do that a lot easier than you can, say, in any of the bigger cities. And then the other thing too is, so I'm making money doing it and performing for a lot, like I said, a lot of fundraisers, or I do a lot of corporate events as well. I do like team building days or things like that, where they'll have me for a lunch hour comedy show, that type of thing. Really exciting, every comedian's dream. Really good atmosphere, but it pays really well. But so there are only maybe a half a dozen of comedians in Saskatchewan who can perform in a capacity like that they can keep it clean enough and professional enough that it fits for a setting that way. Whereas if you're in Vancouver, there are going to be 150 guys who can do that.
Yeah.
Toronto, same thing. Tons of guys who can do that. So here they're eager to book somebody local, because then they can save on the travel fees and probably the fee in general as well.
Right.
And it's great. So here I just find I've thought about moving, and it's like, why would I move? Why would I go anywhere else? I can be a big fish in a small pond here, as opposed to if I went to Ontario, I'd just be another small, medium fish in a pond of very successful comedians with elaborate resumes. So you got to fight against that sort of stuff. And I have done a little bit of work, a little bit of corporate work in BC, a little bit in Alberta, a little bit in Manitoba. I'm trying to crack into Ontario a little bit too. They'll still, if they like your stuff and they catch you on the internet, they might do that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy to get gigs around here and to start to make a name for yourself and build a reputation, because there just aren't that many comedians doing that stuff. So
I'm assuming, like, is your show like fairly clean, or do you have two shows? Like, do you have like the clean version and then say like the after 10 o'clock set that you do?
I have many different versions, man.
Yeah.
It all depends on. So you have your jokes that you're really comfortable with. You've done them hundreds of times. You have your new ones that you're working on. And I like to usually, it doesn't matter if it's a corporate or if it's a club show, I'll try and shoehorn in those new jokes just because I like to work them in.
Yeah.
And depending on the audience, you choose a different phrasing or a different wordplay. I don't delve into a lot of super controversial stuff anyway, just because that's not really who I am. Yeah. And I'm trying to make, I think people can vibe with if you're being authentic, right? And so I'm not going to get into a lot of controversy in regular conversation anyway, because I don't enjoy it. I just think, why would I waste my life arguing about stupid things that I can't control, right?
Yeah.
So my show is mostly about my own life and my own experiences anyway. And so just how I choose to, the verbiage that I choose to use might change a little bit, or there might be some bits where I'm like, this is a bit more of a freewheeling crowd. These guys will, they could do this bit,
yeah,
about my dink or whatever, and they won't care, or about sex or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there are other ones where you try and clean it up too. And I've had those corporate situations where it's like, well, I'm going to clean this up and I'm going to call my genitals my flopsy doodle and see. And they just tighten up, and you're like, okay, I can't get away with anything with these guys. So you kind of play it by ear too. Yeah. I'm sure it's the same way with, when you're in a band and you have your set list, and it's like, well, let's call an audible here, and we'll try something different. So but so I don't know. Yeah, I got a whole variety. I don't, like I said, I don't go super controversial or super dirty or anything like that, because it's just not inherently who I am.
That's fair. Yeah, that's the right answer.
The Lost Signals podcast is brought to you by Homebound Brewing, a family-owned and operated brewery focused on bringing people together and creating quality small batch craft beer that's all your own. Serving a variety of beers on tap and in cans, along with guest seltzers, cider, and even some non-alcoholic options for kids. Cans available at over 40 retail liquor stores throughout the province of Saskatchewan. From our family's hands to yours, it's Homebound Brewing. Check them out online at homeboundbrewing.ca.
Just because it's not my style of comedy that I might do doesn't mean that I'm upset if somebody else does that comedy. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the art across the board. Yeah.
So what do you think of shows like Kill Tony?
Love it.
Yeah.
It's fun, man. I don't know.
I'm not a huge Tony Hinchcliffe fan, but the premise of that show is hilarious in my opinion.
And I think it's been such a good springboard for a lot of comedians who are trying to get a name for themselves and having a tough time. The thing I think that's so neat about the internet now is that you can bypass the gatekeepers, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to have this list of credits to get discovered. You don't need to have all the right things that it used to be. Well, you don't have enough of the TV credits or anything. The general public doesn't care. They're not going to be like, well, this comedian's really funny. Too bad he hasn't done the Halifax Comedy Festival, or I could like him. That's not a thing. But now comedy's become so accessible to everybody. And there are a lot of people out there who maybe have never even been to a stand-up comedy show, but they're very familiar with it because it's so widely shared on Instagram and TikTok now. So it's really neat that that it's kind of taken that turn where if it's a great bit, people are going to see it. That bit you're talking about with the food poisoning has over 3 million views for me now.
Yeah.
And it's pretty neat that that you can just put something out there. And sure, I'm sure it's going to get ripped off and other comedians are going to steal it or whatever. Hacks are going to have their way with it or do a derivative of it. But I've had that happen before, by the way. I've been accused of stealing my own jokes. I'll tell you about that in just a sec.
Yeah.
But I really get a kick out of, regardless if it gets ripped off or if some content creator takes your premise and turns it into some hacky Instagram skit with his wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Regardless of that, I still love that something that I dreamed up, that I was able to come up with out of nothing, is out there making people happy and making people laugh, regardless if I get credit for it or not.
Yeah.
I just think that's super cool that in this massive planet of however many billion people we are, 8, is it 8?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's too many.
But that you can be in someone's face while they're on the toilet making them laugh. I just think that's really rad. I just think, regardless of where of how it ends up playing out, if you get credit for it. One of my jokes in my book got ripped off just recently with the tariffs, and so I pulled a page out. I took a screenshot, not a screenshot. I'm an idiot. A photo. Just took a photo of my book. I pulled the book out and took a picture of it. And there's a joke in there that says, if the U.S., and I wrote this back in 2019, but if the U.S. ever does annex Canada or try to, I hope they do Saskatchewan first, because it will make the U.S. look like it's giving the rest of the world the middle finger. So if you can picture that.
Yeah.
Right? And then, but that was widely, I shared it on X, and a few people ripped it off, and it got a lot more traction from them.
Yeah.
And I actually had a few buddies send my own joke to me, being like, isn't this funny? I'm like, it's my joke. That's mine.
Like, didn't you read my book, you dicks?
Come on.
Yeah.
Didn't you remember that book that I put out 5 years ago with all the material in there? Yeah. So, but that, even still, I still adhere to that mindset. Like, sure, that person, whoever they are, ripped it off, and they think they're getting accolades for it. They know that they're a fraud.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't actually get to have that true creative enjoyment out of it. Like, yeah, okay, you got a bunch of likes, and maybe you even got royalties for it.
Yeah.
Good job. You stole something.
Yeah.
So they don't get to enjoy that fulfillment that creatives get to have when they put something out there that people love.
Yeah.
But it's still out there, and people still get to enjoy it regardless. So, I mean, yeah, you can maybe sense a little bit of bitterness in there.
just a little bit.
But I've evolved to this place where I'm willing to mostly move on from it. So.
Yeah.
But I did have a show where I told the joke. I had a joke that went viral. Oh, I don't know, maybe 2018 or 2017. The joke was, I saw a really attractive single mom spank her kid in McDonald's after he threw his fries on the ground. So I also threw my fries on the ground. And yeah, that joke blew up.
Yep.
And then it got ripped off by all the content creators, right?
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
acting it out and all the other chicanery and nonsense.
Yeah.
And so I told that joke at a show in Yorkton for the city of Yorkton, and the I'll never forget. You never forget when you get accused of stealing your own joke. This girl comes up to me after the show, and she's like, "You're a hack." I'm like, "Why do you say that?" Well, I've heard that joke before. There's this lady on the internet who has that joke, and I'm like, "It's my joke. Here, I'll show you on the internet where I was the first one ever to post it."
Yeah.
And so then she backpedaled and was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It's a really funny joke."
It's funny when people or how people react when you throw facts in their face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially.
I mean, fair enough. If I heard a joke or read a meme and I heard a comedian do the meme, I would be like, wow, this guy's a ripoff artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would just leave and assume that, and I probably wouldn't call him out.
Yeah.
But at least she had the balls to call me out on it, right? So
yeah. So
yeah.
So like, what was there like any comedy videos that you watched as a teenager in the 90s that would have, like that you call back to? It's like, I want to be like I remember watching Eddie Murphy's Delirious growing up, and you know, like Dennis Leary's, like the whole asshole album that he did. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but like, was there albums like that you listened to, or DVDs or VHS tapes back
Seinfeld, man. Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Seinfeld was the guy who got me going.
Yeah.
I didn't even really know that I knew that stand-up comedy was a thing. My dad would watch these comedy shows. He'd watch him an evening at the Improv.
Yeah.
That was on A&E, right?
Yeah.
And I was too young to really understand what was going on. He'd often change the channel.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really get a sense for it. But it wasn't until the Seinfeld TV show where I was like, they give the little comedy clips of Seinfeld up there. You realize this is a thing. And then you see his lifestyle where he's just dicking around. He is in his apartment doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that how comedians live? That seems pretty great. And so that's what piqued my interest in it. But I didn't really know how to get into it. Like, what do you do? pardon me, I grew up here, and this is early 2000s, 90s, right? What do? Do you go down to the Yuck Yucks and be like, hey, I've never done this before, put me on?
They're like,
no. How do you get on? I didn't know that there were open mics. I didn't know that there was a comedy scene. All I knew was that there was a club, and I was like, well, they're not going to put me on. I don't know how to get started in this. So that was as far as the dream really went. I mean, I had comedians that I liked watching and stuff, and liked it and enjoyed it, but that was it. And my feet were fully entrenched in being on the air on radio at that point.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was doing. And I traveled around Western Canada doing that. And it wasn't until Kelowna that I gave it a try. I saw Mike McDonald actually do a show in Kelowna. You remember Mike McDonald? He passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
Canadian comedian legend. So funny.
I got to look up a picture of him. I'm sure I know who he is.
He's awesome. Anyway, I saw him do this show. He also talked about how he had the greatest job in the world. And he ruminated on how he gets to come out here and tell jokes and everything. And he's like, my wife handles all my bookings and the bookkeeping. I go home. She gives me ice cream. I play video games. I write jokes. And then I go out on the road again. It's the best life ever.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that seems amazing. I would love whatever this is that you guys are doing to be a part of that.
So is this your full-time job then?
I would say it's my breadwinning job now.
Yeah.
I still have some other side hustles that I do. It's not like I just write jokes and perform and that's it. So I do, you can see I'm in a bit of a studio here. I do ASMR crying on YouTube. A lot of people want to hear someone cry.
I think I'm subscribed to that already. Actually.
Yeah, it's a really popular channel. So I do a little bit of voiceover work.
Yep.
And I like working with my hands too. I do some reno stuff and little.
There's a lot of jokes there, Joel. Just saying.
I do. I'm very good with my hands, Darrell.
It happens.
Yeah. So good with my hands.
Yeah. That probably goes hand in hand with the ASMR crying.
Oh yeah. Well, it's after the ASMR crying comes after.
It's the only way to do it. Oh boy. What do you got coming up here? Like, what's next, or like any big shows or festivals?
What I have coming up?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Nothing that exciting. That I have I got this next weekend off, which is really nice to have a weekend off every now and then.
Yep.
But I'm doing. I got a fun, interesting show I'm doing next Wednesday that the public can't come to, but it's for tax accounting group because it's. The income tax day, they want me to come out and they want to get drunk and have me tell them jokes because they're all done with their busy time of year.
Yeah.
So traditionally, I've done accounting Christmas parties before, and they are terrible. They're not fun. Nobody wants to be there, it feels like, and then they're not a super exuberant.
They're kind of they're uptight.
Yeah, they're not hard laughers. They're like, listen, it hasn't been like, hey, you sucked. Thanks for coming and doing our Christmas party. They're always happy, but they're just really reserved.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to see what this group is like when they're just loaded and looking to have a good time. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I don't know. I just have regular shows, regular fundraisers, small town stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know that's probably really exciting for you to hear that.
It is what it is. That's what you got going on. I asked you a question. You gave me an answer. That's the way it works.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, like we were talking at the beginning here, we add a couple songs to our Found Signals podcast playlist. Sorry, my words are hard some days. So any songs you would like to add to our playlist on Spotify?
Sure. Yeah, I like one of my favorite road songs to listen to as I'm heading out, leaving the house, trying to get in a good mood and get pumped for the show is Nobody by the Sheepdogs.
Oh, that's a good tune.
It's a great tune, man.
Yeah.
Saskatoon band, prairie comedy. I just it feels really good. Get that song on the radio there and crank it up and hit the road. I love it.
You ever play the Capitol?
Yeah.
Yeah. My band.
Yeah, Capitol's fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. Like my band.
They have a real green room there, by the way, which is exciting for everybody.
My band sticker is in there
nice.
We're actually playing it on Wednesday for.
What are you guys called?
My old band.
Feel free to give that show a plug if you want to.
Oh, 100%. It's my show. I can do what I want. My old band is called Broken Roads, and if you're in the green room there, I think at the time when we put it up there a little while ago, it was the highest sticker you could get up on the wall. Unless it's changed. My new band that's playing on Wednesday is called Toxic, and we're doing a fundraiser for search and rescue.
Yeah,
something. I don't know.
Okay,
I just show up and play, but
all good, man.
Yeah, that's the way it is. Do you want to add another song?
That was the only one I really thought about. I don't know. That's all I got.
It's all good.
Yeah, that's a good one song. Oh, I forgot I have a show tomorrow night at the Black Cat too.
Black Cat Tavern.
Tomorrow 9:00. Yeah,
that's a great venue too.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I've never played there.
The green room there is the VLT room. You got to sit in there with all the people with a problem.
Imagine that VLT room, like 20 years ago or 25 years ago, and you could still smoke in the bar.
Oh yeah.
God. That's
legendary.
Oh God, my clothes probably still stink from that.
Mm-hmm.
But
I remember, I'm old enough to remember when they took away the smoking, and then the bar just smelled like BO.
Yeah,
went from being like, oh, it's really smoky in here, now you're like, it's gross, just stinks.
Do you remember going to the Long Branch back in the day?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I worked there. I was a bouncer there.
Oh.
And
wow.
I remember, I worked there before you could still smoke in the bar, and I remember going there after they took smoking out. And just looking at the floor in there and the ceiling, and it was just disgusting.
Oh, for sure.
God, it's terrible. It's terrible. I don't miss smoking in the bars. But yeah. Thanks, Joel, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Darrell.
We're gonna end it there.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you bet. Peace out.
Yeah. Take her easy. I don't know.